managers thought. So, but like my notes are pretty much in line with what the teacher said.
There's stuff like that.
Yeah, he lives where he grew up. He's like the furthest.
But that's what they wanted. They said they
He
wanted
sounds like,
that.
I know when I talked. Oh, yeah, I'm like,
They just said, you know, they just said they wanted to do.
I get these every day.
oh, we're ready this time? Okay. All right, I'd like to bring this meeting to order. And I'd like to call for executive session. Could be my last name. Hello, Carol. Hello. Just want you to know. Hi, how are you, Carol? Anyway, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session in accordance with Idaho Code, section 74206. The board may elect to hold an executive session to consider the evaluation, dismissal, or disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent or public school student.
Okay, second. All in favor, Christie?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
JD?
Aye.
Hillary?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so away we go. We will return.
Process where like that makes it worse. Right.
I had the same problem. Sorry. There we go. Oh, yeah. All right, should we start early? Oh, can we start early? Can we start early? All right. I'd like to call this session to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, we'll just go on and down. Kirsty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
JD?
Aye.
Hillary?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. All right, and now celebrations. I love celebrations.
Yes, Chairman Nixon, members of the board, I asked Luke to come over, cause and do the celebrations first, cause he's got duty tonight over at the high school, but before he presents, I wanted to just say one thing. A week ago Monday, my daughter was asked to interview at one of the hospitals, and so they took her around to all the hospitals, but as she was driving around with the recruiter, she was telling them that her mom works in Kuna, and they said, and the lady said, oh my gosh, Kuna's doing such great things. And then, and she said, oh, that's awesome. But I mean, it was the first thing out of her mouth, that Kuna's doing some great things, and then our athletics, it sounds like your athletics are really doing well too at the high school. And so she just had a lot of praise for Kuna. And so I thought that was pretty awesome. So Luke is gonna share a couple really cool things with you.
Hey, for one, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. So we had I have actually these three and then two more that just occurred over the weekend to add to the list of us being in the news for good stuff athletically. A couple weeks ago, this is a program that the IHSA does every week. They send out nominations to all over the state, and Sarah won the girls basketball athlete of the week for the IHSAA. And that's not just the conference, that's not just District 3, that's the entire state. And Sarah, if you don't know Sarah, she's amazing, she's a great kid, she's committed to play basketball at College of Southern Idaho next year. She's our point guard and our leader and our everything. And then her counterpart, Jada, so this is the Statesman's Athlete of the Week, and this actually goes out to the public in voting. So if you've ever seen the athletic story on Instagram, like if you go on there later today or tomorrow, we have Zoe Fries up for Wrestler of the Week, and people vote on this. And so Jada last week garnished the most votes for girls basketball player athlete of the week. And then Zoe, she won her weight class at 138 at Raleigh Lane, and Raleigh Lane's one of the biggest wrestling tournaments, not only in the state, but in the Northwest. And she won the entire weight class, which is awesome. Unfortunately, the girls couldn't be here tonight. The girls basketball's at Bora, and then our wrestlers are across the way at Wrestling Furland. And then over the weekend, our cheer team in Jerome took first in 6A co-ed show and first in 6A co-ed stunt in their divisions. And our boys basketball team, who plays tonight at Eagle, that's where I'm headed, the latest Max Prep rankings has us as 4th in the state.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
so we're doing pretty well and pretty proud of our kids. and our
Good
coaches.
news.
Yeah, thanks, Luke.
Yeah.
Thank you
thank you.
for letting us celebrate them.
Thank
That's
you.
great.
Drive safe.
It's all good.
All right, next we have the reorganization of the boards of trustees. And first up is to elect a chairperson. So do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we elect you as the chairman again.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All right, Hillary?
Aye.
JD?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Kirsty?
Aye.
And I'll be an aye. Can I be an aye?
We hope so.
Yeah, or maybe I'm a me or a we. Okay, next up is to elect a vice chairperson. And I make a motion that we elect JD as our vice chairperson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, do I have any discussion? All right, Hillary,
Aye.
JD,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
and Kirsty.
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so, all right. The next thing we need is to have a motion to appoint Brad Stedman as our district treasurer. Do I have a motion to do that?
I make a motion to appoint Brad Stedman as district treasurer.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? All right, Kirsty,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
JD,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. All right. The next action is to appoint Deanne Greeny as our district clerk. And can I say that I think you do a wonderful job, so thank you. Do I have a motion to appoint her as our district clerk?
I motion that we appoint Deanne Greeny as district clerk.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? All right, Kirsty,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
JD,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay? And then the next thing we need to do is to sign our code of ethics, which is policy 216, which is in your, should be on your packet there. Now, Deanne, did you want that right now for us to
Yeah,
hand
you
those in?
just sign them and pass them over.
Are there any questions or discussion as we sign these that you might have? Wow, we are on a roll tonight. So. Do you have everyone's down?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our next action item is for the school board meeting resolutions to establish our monthly regular school board meeting dates and times. And so do I have a motion to be held, I guess, here, the second Tuesday of each month at 6:30 PM to be held, I guess, 711 East Porter Street. And then, is this the one where we had to agree to all the different months, right?
Yes,
Okay,
and I had sent a list of those, and I'd circled birthdays already on the calendar, so when I sent two wrong dates for June and October, but otherwise everything else is still
it's good.
second Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, the only one I questioned out was July 8th. Is that far enough away from July 4th that will be good? Because that one we have done a little different.
July 4th is on that Friday.
So I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, all right.
I think we're good on this. All right, do I have a motion?
I motion that we designate public places for posting notices, the school district office, district website, district Facebook, additional locations, the Kuna post office, Kuna city hall, and Kuna community library.
Okay. Before we do that, I think we need to make sure that we
have
make
to
the board
okay
meeting
that.
resolutions first.
Can we combine it?
Yeah,
Can we combine the two?
yeah.
So,
Okay,
just
so,
say in addition.
yeah,
Okay, so in addition, establish the monthly regular meeting to be held here second Tuesday every month at 6:30 PM at this district office.
Second.
okay. Any discussion? All right, Kirsty,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
JD,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. All right, and now we need to determine our committee representatives for the board. Negotiations committee, is there anybody who would like to do that? I
I'd
think,
like to continue to be on that one.
I agree, I think that's a good
That's a
one.
great idea.
I do too. Calendar committee,
I'll continue being on that one.
okay. Safety committee,
I'm happy to do that.
okay. Hillary for that one. I'm on the Kuna Education Foundation, I would like to continue on that one also. And then the wellness committee, that would leave JD, is that something,
Yeah, I can do that.
okay? Well, so I have a motion that all negotiation committees are taken care of, And we just motioned that then?
All committees.
All committees?
Motion all committees.
All committees, okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we designate the committee representatives for the board. Do I need to say everybody's name?
No, I've got
Okay.
it recorded.
Okay,
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right, Kirsty,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
JD,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. All right, well, let's move right along. Superintendent's report.
Well, and I'm gonna turn this over to Kevin Gifford, but we just wanna share a little bit about our PD day on January 6th when the teachers came back, so I'm gonna.
So, I guess Chairperson Nixon again and trustees. Last Monday, it was a great day. As you know, in our strategic plan, professional learning community has been a big focus in our student learning pillar, and it's professional development we've been pursuing. So, we had another presenter come from Solution Tree, who is our professional development partner with PLCs, and presented to the elementary group, the middle school group, the high school group, and we did a lunch and learn during the day with the parents, which was really cool. We'd never done that before. Her message was about, in our PLC process, there's 4 questions we address, and she focused on question number 3, which is how will we respond when students don't learn? So she talked about what we call our multi-tiered systems of support and how we intervene to help students that aren't learning the way we want them to. A lot of it was review. Her training was good. There was a little bit of maybe disappointment or disconnect with we didn't get as much that we wanted out of that as we had hoped for. We wanted more strategies to address some of our behavior support concerns that we've heard about. And she did give us some, but not as much as we were hoping to get. But overall, it was still good because it gave us an opportunity to really look at what our systems look like and what our teachers understand about those systems. And so even just yesterday with our principals, we reflected back on that and looked at the systems that have in place, because the teachers had done some posters for principal, or for us to be able to see what they understood. And so it's given us a good, clear picture of where we're at and some things to work on. And with the lunch and learn, we're excited because we had 46 people that RSVP'd. When we first put out the idea, we didn't think we'd have very many people because it was at lunchtime, but we had 46 people that RSVP'd and about 30-something that actually showed up. So that was good. Some of them were looking for more specific information, which we shared her slide afterward and explained, please talk with your school or your IEP case manager or teacher if you had specific questions that weren't answered. But overall, it was good, and we have since then, we have plans to start a parent university. We would do it in the evenings, maybe once a month. We have our first one already kind of planning. Director Shamber is working on a panel for special education so that we can address more specifically some of those concerns and questions. But we're really excited for that idea. I think that opportunities, what we're doing with our staff, we can share some of those same ideas with parents to try to work together with our parents and share some of the same ideas. So that was something that came out of that. It was really exciting. And then at each building level, they continue to work on their PLC processes as well, and they focused on question 1, what do we want all students to learn and be able to do? And so with the elementary team, they've been working collaboratively across all schools. And this is the first year that their report card, standards-based report card, has been all the way K-5. So they spent time working together to make sure all their priority standards and their report cards were aligned to K-5. So that was really cool. They've made some really great progress with that. Middle schools, the 2 middle schools worked together to check their priority standards they've identified at each school and start the process of making sure they're aligned across the whole middle school area, not just the 2 schools. And at the high school level, they were working in their teams, adjusting their already identified priority standards, because the state has changed some of those themselves. So as a whole, the district all focused on their PLC processes, some from the district and at the building level. So it was a good day. And then they had time to work on other things at the building level or at their own team level as well. So.
Kevin, you wanna just tell them that I know none of
PE
the,
and music, sorry, yes.
that, and then none of the instructional coaches are here tonight. but-
Yes. So our instructional coaches, our principals design what that day is gonna look like, and then our instructional coaches do a lot of the heavy lifting to get us ready for that work. So it was really great to see them shine again. And a lot of comments from our teachers appreciating that work that was done for them. And then our music and our PE teachers, this idea came from our principals actually, and music teacher and PE teachers were excited about it. It wasn't like we had to force them or anything. They did their first K-12 alignment work in a while. So I met with the music teachers and they were just so excited. The very first thing they talked about was, hey, we gotta start doing this regularly. So they planned their next date. That was the first item of business for them, was to plan the next time to meet. So they are, music and PE both, are gonna start working towards making sure that their standards are aligned vertically, K-12. And then I wasn't at the PE one, but like music, we talked about performances and what would be the expectations in elementary level and then middle school and high school, so that we build that progression of students learning how to perform. So it was just overall an exciting day. Those are always fun, good learning days. Kind of reboots us and refreshes us, and yeah, but it was really great to see a lot of hard work put into that.
I think it'll go along with your work session, like in February, March, when you're talking about data and things like that, because everything, the work that we're doing
Yes.
now for the alignment and the standards help us get the data that we want, the right data, because
Yes.
we work with the PLT teams and all of that. It all works together.
And I just want to say, I was able to go to that luncheon with Amy Williams, and I was real happy with the turnout. She said several times, this is really a large turnout of community members. And then I'd like to see us continue, because there were some specific questions I felt that
Right.
needed to be answered. And I'd like to see us to continue to be transparent and answer those to our parents and to our
Yeah.
staff. And I thought it was a good thing. And I think your parent university is a good thing to start, and I'm
Yeah.
excited to see how we can support you and make that work.
Right, and that can be, we can be responsive to whatever's currently going on or whatever yeah, I mean, we already started brainstorming some different
That's
ideas of things
great.
that we could share, so.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
And is there a schedule for the parent university, like a goal for how often it would be?
We talked monthly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's our goal right now, is monthly. We haven't really gotten into, we've just started planning the first one really, and then we'll kind of solidify our plans once we
You
see
know,
how that
Hillary, it
goes.
might be nice for you guys to report back to us, since we're working on behavior and that kind of stuff on what's
Me?
going on. No, I mean,
Oh.
for them too. Sorry, no, not you, yes, you should want to report back.
I'll do anything.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking.
I think you just got put on a committee with us.
I think so, yeah.
I do my best. No, I'm just thinking that that would be really nice to have you report back once a
Oh,
month
yes, for sure.
to us
I'd love to do
about
that.
what's going on,
Yeah.
and that we can help support you. I didn't mean you
No,
specifically.
sorry, I misunderstood.
That's okay. So does my
But I
husband.
think there's some really good topics that would be helpful for parents, and
I did a couple of those at
Yeah.
Reed when I was a principal, and parents came, and it was
Yeah.
exciting. So it was fun. It was fun to feel like we're helping out the whole family versus.
Yeah, and I think our
We're here for the
community is
students.
ready to help and listen
Yeah.
and learn,
Yeah.
so I think that
well, a
that's.
couple years ago when we did it out at Swan Falls, and it was in May, and we thought, gosh, we don't know what we're gonna get. It was for parents, but it was about like healthy alternatives, like what do we have in our community to offer kids and parents and families, and then we brought a person in from Arizona who spoke on like pressures and anxiety and all of that.
Yeah.
And we had over 200 parents that night come to that
Yeah.
particular one, and we were just kind of really surprised, but we had so many people, like vendors, I don't call them vendors, but they were some of our own folks that set up their tables, like lacrosse and like basketball and cheering and all these different tables.
Some of the churches also
Some
in
of
the
the
community
churches
set
came
up
because they have
things, it was
youth
great.
groups, they have
Yeah.
different youth groups, and
Yeah.
we just had so many people
That's
that
good.
came to join that. And so we'd like to do things more like that.
I think that's great.
And that hits our
Yeah.
pillar of strong relationships.
Yeah.
is
Yes, it does.
Partnering with our community.
Yeah.
For a
so-
strategic plan, I think that's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
I think that's great. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have anyone signed up to speak tonight? Okay, thank you. So we need to make an amendment to our 25-26 calendars. Superintendent, ready?
Yeah, Chairman Nixon, trustees. I'm gonna ask co-KE President Mock to help me present on this. So this has kind of come up, can you go to the next slide, Rob? So the question we really have for you guys to consider is to consider modifying the currently approved 25-26 year calendar. And as you know, we have a calendar committee. you know, Trustee Bruce, we're gonna get to party on that one here in the coming future. But they have in the past approved 2 years worth of calendars at a time. And so there's some bit interest that's surfaced about, let's make some minor revisions to the calendar for next school year. So that's what we're gonna talk to you about tonight. The background for this, as you, I'm sure, are aware and remember, we decided as a group, as a board, for election day, for the November primary election, to close schools for that day. And there were our neighbor schools did that, there were some safety things, some just space capacity, those kinds of questions had come up. And there's some momentum in the legislature even related to this question. And so we are proposing modifying that day and making some adjustments to the calendar and moving one PD day. So I'll let Ms. Mock talk about that.
Okay, so our first suggestion is to make the election day next year a day off again. The biggest concern to the KE members and teachers was the safety of the children and the staff, because that's the bigger of the 2 elections of the year. So it's just for safety. And then October day is, so we have, so from October 6th, that's right. So parent-teacher conference from elementary, they had a PD, then it was a full day of teaching, make sure I got it right, I'm in high school. 2 like half days and then parent-teacher conferences and then a full day again, and it's like a lot. You've done those 2 huge days, the kids are squirrely all the half days. So it was suggested that we move that Monday PD to Friday, so that after parent-teacher conferences, they can breathe. It's for their mental health, they need to do the things, and so we think that's a really good move. And I think we're not losing any days. Oh, we do have to add, because of the election day being a no contract day, and to stay with contract, we have to add a day at the end of May. Instead of schools finishing on Thursday, we'll finish on Friday. And that's to make up for that election day, because that's a no contract day now, so. I think that's it. Any questions?
All right.
So this school year will be the 29th, not the 28th.
For the next,
Next
not our
one.
current
Next.
school year,
Not
but we're
this-
in.
okay, next.
Yeah, this would be for the coming school year.
25, 26.
To make this like small adjustment.
Okay.
And then we'll relaunch the calendar committee in October and hopefully seek to do another, 2-year adoption so that we can kind of keep the work moving. And I just want to make sure and quick point out, like this feedback has gone through the KEA, through our administrators, through some teachers. So this isn't just like, 3 people in a room Mad Maxing, how can we make these changes? It's been something we've talked a lot of different.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I remember this coming up this year, when some of the elementary teachers had contacted me and said it's too much, so I'm glad you moved the PD. It's a great way to do it, so I appreciate that. And then I like the 2-year calendar, so that we can decide and be ready to go for 2 years, so.
And we don't have to use a snow day next year for.
I was gonna say something about that, but then
Yeah, so we had to use an emergency day
Yeah.
this year, so.
All right, we're just gonna go an extra day. All right, do I have a motion to adopt? I have to find out where I'm at here.
I make a motion that we amend the school calendar for 25-26.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All right, Hillary,
Aye.
JD,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
and Kirsty,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we want to consider the Kuna High School AFJ ROTC presentation to explore outside billing opportunities.
Yes, Chairman Nixon and members of the board, I don't know if everybody's aware, but we are the only Air Force JROTC in the state of Idaho. So we are the only Air Force program that we have here. And so tonight, O'Brien and I met with Robbie and Lieutenant Colonel Davis, and they asked if they could come and do just a short presentation to you about something they'd like to just pursue. And so we, I think they have it, right? Okay, I'm gonna just turn it over to them, and they're gonna take about 5 minutes and share what they have.
So yeah, as you know, they're a great
I
program.
think I have that.
You do have some?
Are those maps?
Or is there a map? on that?
guys.
Okay,
There is
so-
a map that's.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I thought they.
We had them over
We
here.
have
We
one.
have
We
one.
have our map.
I don't know where the map went.
I don't know where it is in the set of papers, I'm so organized. Go ahead and pick on me, I can take it. You don't know what happened to you, Brian? What did you do with that map? It was there, I saw it.
Here, JD's got it.
Oh, JD has the map?
He has one, I have another one.
Thank you, JD, appreciate you bringing that forward.
They just
I'm very sorry, I thought.
Oh, I don't know where it
I'm trying to understand the location of where you're behind. Does that show like where?
Yeah, that one will show.
I'll have one over here.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So again, Lieutenant Colonel Davis, their program is about 100 students, and they're getting better at entering competition, just like BPA, FFA, they have competitions. These guys have competitions that are job skills in this, and they need space, so I'm gonna let Lieutenant Colonel talk more on that.
So first off, I'd like to thank you all for giving us the opportunity to come and talk to you. And as a military person, we often get thanked for our service, but I never really know what to do with that compliment, so I'm gonna do it back to you. So thank you very much for what you do for our kids. And you're like, oh, you're welcome. That's what I usually have to say, well, you're welcome. So the fundamental thing that we are looking to do is we're trying to get approval to at least explore the idea of building a building. And fundamentally, the reason why we have to do it is you're well aware how large the high school is, and we are always in competition between all the sports teams, everything else. And even though there are 3 gyms, we have about 12 to 13 programs that we run after school. Not just that which is in school. So we have drill, we have color guards going on. So all the times you see the presentations and our kids go throughout the valley, they have been involved in parades going down to all. We have marksmanship coming up. We have drones, which we just got in. They're indoor drones, so we have to use those indoors. We want to do a flight simulator. Matter of fact, we actually have one of our students, 2 of our students were selected, so over the summer. One of them right there will be a certified pilot by the time she is done. First time we've ever had that happen. We have Rocket Club. We have multiple clubs which are all taking place, and all of that creates this competition for space. And the school has been very good and very accommodating, and the sports teams have been very accommodating to us. But we're starting to run out of time of when we can do it. There's 2 of us, one of us has to be here for all the different events, and there's only so much space. So what we are looking to do is try and build our own space on there. Now, I got it. I know the very first thing you're probably thinking of is money. We're not asking for money. That's not the point on it. What we're asking is to try and pursue building it. We want the use of the land, so we've talked to the school about where it could possibly best fit. And if you think of that land space, which is right by the softball fields on there, there's on the one side, which is like a field, and then there's the other side, which is right in between where the portable units are. There's the outer bathroom, and then there's the softball field. There's green grass, which is right in there. That will accommodate the space that we are looking to put it in. There are 2 options that we have on there, 2 options that we go with. One of them is that we just build a metal structure that we can then go out and do all of our drill, all of our marching, all of our drones, and everything else. That naturally is cheaper. Roughly, it would be about $450K. We got a rough estimate from someone, say, what would that look like as far as building it? Or we can build to where we put everything out there. The strengths and advantages of putting everything out there is we have our classroom, we're out there, we're watching everything, we have all of our storage, everything is all contained in that one building. And then, right when anytime anybody is coming to any of the sports fields, what are they gonna see? They're gonna see Kuna, Air Force JROTC, the Air Force's only ROTC unit in Idaho, right there in Kuna, advertising. And there may be signs, because I gotta go out and beg for money, which I don't know. The big thing for us is we don't know. It may be that we pursue this, and a year, 2 years from now, I come back and I say, the well's dry and nobody wants to give money, or we raise all the money. If we raise all the money, then we move into the building phase. So I know the school is good with the idea, superintendent was good with the idea, now we come to you and say, this is what we're kind of looking to do. And again, we can use expertise on how to raise, but we're not asking for you to give resources, because we know there's only so much that's there, so.
Is there anything in particular in that area right now? Just open?
It's just open
space,
grass,
right?
yeah.
So-
Is that where the practice field, is that where the?
No, it's not the practice
Okay.
fields, so you think the 2 portals right behind them, in between where the softball field is, that grassy area.
It'll be like that hitting field, or hitting,
By that building.
it'd be the hitting,
Oh, by
hitting
hitting
facility.
Oh, okay.
No, kind of, no.
Right.
So
I mean,
we
it's
first
like-
originally thought behind the hitting facility, but then like the softball field, home runs hit it, so we put it back by the portables.
Okay.
So my like,
Oh,
This
yeah, the
thing?
facility
The
would be.
facilities
Or
like
is
the
it over
hitting
here?
facility.
'Cause that's
Yeah,
the-
right here, because the concession
Okay.
stands right there, bathrooms are easy access.
Okay.
so my like question is that, do we have enough? My understanding is when you go to build a school, you have to have so much free space or green space, is that correct? Will we have that? Is that
Don't
not
think it
something we have to
applies
worry
us.
about it?
Does not apply to us.
And we have lots of.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
all our
my only
practice
concern, I
fields.
wanna make sure that we have enough of that, so, okay.
And it's only to just go out and just, there's
It's
not to
basically
build it
just
or
to go-
anything, they just wanna pursue, but they don't wanna move forward to pursue without approval, like somebody saying to you, why are they doing this?
And I'm gonna thank you for your service and thank you that you're not asking us for money. So, do I have a motion then?
Well, I was just wondering
Oh, do you have
quickly
any
if,
more questions?
just if you have a preference, I mean, option 1 or option 2, obviously maybe option 2 is more attractive, but it just based on what you can raise, is that
Yeah.
what you're?
Yeah, option 2 is more attractive, because that then also benefits the school. It frees up space for them, because that whole side of the building, because we're like right, if y'all know if you've ever been over there, we're like right on side of the gym. That now becomes, I'm sure there will be a food fight for who gets that space. And then we're all contained, because when it's just the 2 of us, one of the challenges is that somebody has to be supervising it. And when you're there, you can supervise it without having to go up to the gym, so you can still do some prep work while you're watching and making sure everything is happening in the right manner that it should be, and that everything's safe, so. That, yes, thank you, but, yeah, that would be the preference, but.
So I hope you can get option 2,
Yeah.
because it frees up space
Yeah, I
for
think it
us
just
to.
seems like really attractive
Yeah.
to me too, so.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So do I have a motion for them to go ahead?
I make a motion that we approve this presentation from the JROTC for them to go find out if they can raise money to build this building.
Okay, do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. Who would like to, does it matter?
She can do it.
Okay. All right, and is there any further discussion? All right, Hillary?
Aye.
JD?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Kirsty? And I'm an aye. Good luck.
Thank
Sounds
you.
great.
Lieutenant Colonel Davis, is this yet, are you with the pilot already? Are you, is she?
She's got the scholarship
Yeah.
to get her pilot's
Okay.
license over the summer.
Yeah, okay.
Her and,
Live.
can't pronounce her first name, but Palio.
Okay.
They'll both be pilots when they come back.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you for both being here too. Thank you for your service also.
Thank you.
All right.
Chairs everywhere.
Okay, next, Assistant Superintendent Reddy, we have a donation.
Yeah,
Talk to
and
us
I might
about-
call on Principal Jensen, because we work on the development work together, and the mitigation process, so he'll also be able to help field any questions you guys might have. So, the motion to consider, or the question before you for us is to accept the donations that we have been given, I guess, or going to be given. based on some of the work for the mitigation process that you guys have put us down. So as you know, the voluntary mitigation process has been kind of a long one with some mixed results with developers and just the work with our district and all of those components in the city. But tonight we have some really good news to share with you. So we want to talk about these two projects. So Tim, I'll let you kind of answer any questions here, but let me see if I can explain this cleanly. So we have two projects that are happening, or two developments. The first one is Diode Ventures. So this is going to be another server farm that's going to go about 1.5 miles south of where Farmstead is now. If you kind of picture that and you go about 1.5 miles south, that's where the property would start. This is a company that purchases property for one of the big 5 technology companies and then we'll sell it to them. So Diode is the company we've been working with so far. They reached out to us when they were pursuing this, gosh, what was that, August? Yeah, early. We met with a group of them and started conversations. So what we've done so far, you have this in your board packet if you want to look at it. The MOU is in there and also a map of where this is going to be. But they have promised us in the MOU, they're going to give us a donation.
I didn't see it in the packet.
It's under development folder, I think.
It says presentation? No?
No.
There's
It just says
no.
consider
It's
donation
definitely
related.
in there.
It wasn't in.
I'll show it to you in a second. Let me explain this, and then if you have questions, I'm happy to explain more. So the first donation that Diode is gonna give us is $100,000. We've talked to them about all of our needs and all the things that would help with mitigation. So they're gonna give us $100,000, and they wanted to kind of earmark those things for athletic facilities and equipment updates. Worked with Luke on this, about some of the best places that we could put those dollars. And then once Diode sells the property to one of the big 5 tech companies, is what I've been told, that company has also promised us another $400,000. But we don't know exactly when that will be, right? They have to kind of take over ownership of the property. So this kind of explains the timeline of when we would get that money. But I would expect the $100,000 to come in the next month or two, for sure before the end of the school year, and then the remaining $400,000 would come later. And then the Blossom Meadows subdivision, do you want to talk about the work that we've done with them and kind of the conversation?
Yeah, this is another conversation that started going back for, and we had met with them, and I think Robbie may have been with us, and they had talked to us about originally maybe expanding the high school parking lot out front in that grass area. And as they got to going through their process, they responded back and actually opted to do, instead of doing that, opted to do the mitigation fee of the $32.86 per household. And right now, the proposal for that development is 177 homes, which would equate to $581,622. So, and the terms of that they've talked about doing when we've had conversations about it was, instead of sending us a check for $32.86 every lot, they had talked about just sending us one, when they sell 10 lots, they would send us a lump sum check for those 10, another 10 lots, send us that, so, you know, until we got to that total of the $581,622. And so, great people, they've been great to work with and, you know, understand the impact that they have on.
And they want to help.
Yeah.
They genuinely want to
Where's
help.
Blossom
Yeah,
Meadows
where is that?
going to be at?
It is, I have it on the notes on the slide, and to be honest with you, I don't remember. I would
And
have
are
to-
when will they begin construction? Are they started construction, or are they close to?
They're still going through the
They're
process.
just-
Still going through the
Yeah.
zoning
Yeah.
process. Good news that you brought to us tonight, to our district. The 400,000 designated for technology, that's just something that we will take a look at what we need in curriculum and that kind of stuff, correct?
And that's a while out.
That's a while
It's a
out.
while out.
That's after they sell the
Yeah.
other.
Yes.
After they sell, okay.
It just doesn't make sense to me that
this company that hasn't bought the land yet has already agreed to donate $400,000, but
It's a gifted horse.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what I've been told by Diode, and we've had lots of conversations with them, is I don't know if they know who it is for sure, and they can't say yet because they're under some legal restrictions to do that, but there's a genuine desire to partner with our school district when they move in and take ownership of the property, which is good to hear. They don't always say that.
So I have another question, since you're working with the city, are you finding that a lot of our people that are coming to, to us are in favor of doing some type of mitigation for us? Has that changed a little bit? Just want to know the feel.
It's give and take. I
It's
mean,
give and
it
take.
really is.
Through the P and Z, I guess is my,
Yeah, we get, and a lot of it depends on, I've learned a lot. You go to Meridian, P and Z or City Council, and there's definitely some different outlooks on things at their meetings. When you go to Kuna, not just the developers, but the commissioners and the board members, they're all, one thing I know is they always ask about the schools, and I appreciate that, they have us at the front of their agenda as well, and ask the developer, this is gonna, what kind of impact is this gonna have, and so it's kind of, as you can imagine, it's mixed, because you're talking about money.
right.
And when you're talking about, potentially, and it was actually the guys for Blossom Meadows that told us on the 3286, they put it pretty simply, they said, we're just gonna tack that price to the cost of the lots. And so it's really not money out of their pocket,
Right.
but some of them, when you talk to them, feel like you're taking it from their personal bank account. And so it really, I don't have a positive,
I just wondered what the
it's kind of
temperature
a
was,
mixed, it's kind of a mixed bag depending on the developer you talk to.
I feel like in the last 10 years, our collaboration with the district and Kuna City Council and the mayor has helped a ton and gotten us where we're at today.
Yeah.
And it's harder for us to get that same collaboration with Meridian, and they're not on the same page with us.
And I would say this though, I would say we've made some pretty good strides with them just over the last few months. They, and at the last city council meeting that I was at in Meridian, they completely understand kind of the dilemma we're in Kuna. We're growing so fast, but not, they understand the dynamics of, the bond, in the state, not just in Kuna, but in the state, how hard it is for districts to pass bonds. And so when I say that they take that into consideration, listening to their discussions, the last couple meetings, they absolutely do understand where we're at, but maybe not yet to the extent of, like when I go to the CUNA meetings, we're definitely at the forefront of the discussion, in the CUNA meetings, and so.
I'd sure like our patrons to realize that we can't charge impact fees.
Yeah.
But we can do this, and it's something that we can do, and it's something that benefits our school district. And so I sure would like to get that word out, to let people know that, we're doing the best we can under the guise of what we have to work with. Because this helps.
It does help.
It's not gonna build a school for us, but it helps,
Right.
so.
And that's what we talk to them a lot about, whenever the conversation comes up about bonds and stuff like that, we talk to them about, so help us talk to the legislature then about this need in our state, because it,
Supermajority.
yeah, the supermajority vote. And so we're also having that discussion with them, like partner with us in this way as well to help us, able to do this, so.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Do I have a motion to accept these donations then, I guess is what we're looking at?
I make a motion to accept the 2 donations that were presented.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, any more discussion? All right, JD,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Kirsty, and I'm an aye. All right. Thank you, and thank you for what you guys do. It's above and beyond. Thank you.
I was looking for
Is that where it's at? Sorry, just a second.
I got a map, hang on.
Okay, the second, Jan has a map for us.
Yeah.
I wonder if this was here, this little.
that one's the last to sign.
That was the first to sign.
I believe so.
I
Both
was-
these over.
I'll share it with you guys, I'll show you.
Okay, thank you. All right,
Okay.
and now, first, some policies we'll be looking at tonight, first reading. And
Thought you
Superintendent
weren't gonna
Grace.
see Brian tonight, right? But
Yeah, we're gonna see Brian tonight, well, action.
Your jokes are funny.
We divided the adopt, we separated those two. You guys may not know, but there's been a little bit of a discussion about a cell phone policy that we thought may have a little more of a discussion. The first 5 I stand for are amendments. Do you have any questions?
Oh,
Sorry.
no, just a second.
Yeah.
shared the folders with you guys too.
Okay, thank you. What road does it say? Sorry, just a second.
No, you're totally.
Yeah, just remember to be secure.
Did you guys figure out what roads? Can you guys read what roads those are?
Yeah.
Yeah, Locust Grove and Meridian.
So, that's Locust Grove.
Okay.
There's Meridian Road.
Man, your eyes are much better. So that'll be.
We're good.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Is that by the 100 acres?
That's-
Is that fine?
I'm only concerned if trustee Grant is, and I know if it's by our neighborhood.
Yeah, it's not.
Not by our neighborhood.
No, I just asked him, it's
The other
near
way.
our 100 acres we have, and he said
To the front.
somewhere in that area. All right. Okay, are we ready? Or
So 5
policies?
amendments, these were leftovers from December, January, or December and November that we didn't quite get finished or we needed to polish that. So it's a small list of only 7 policies, but 5 are amendments. Do you have any questions?
Well, I had a patron who said, why do we pass the levy and now you're reducing the force regarding certificated employees? And I said, it's a policy.
It was already in place.
Yeah, it was already in place. We're not getting rid of anybody. It's just in case we do.
Trustee
So-
Thornton was with us when we actually brought this straight to our KE negotiators. So our KE negotiators were 100% in this. And if you actually go through this policy that's current, it's an option, it's a policy that gives you 3 options and then 2 others. No disrespect to whatever board passed this in 2012 or 2006, I think is when we saw, but they didn't make the choice. So all options are there still. It's a very poorly written. Luckily, we've never had to use it, so we've cleaned it up.
Yeah.
And the KA negotiators were 100%. in
Okay,
agreement with what
good.
we-
I did have a question, and maybe this is, if they are in agreement. When you go to your RIF number, it said there's no seniority to a RIF number?
Yeah, there's a point system that
Okay.
you use.
And so it'll be that instead of seniority, that was my question, so if they're good with that, I am. And then also it talked about a national certificate, is that something that teachers are still doing, is that something we
No,
have
and
in there?
it dropped to like,
Number
it dropped to,
6.
yeah, it dropped down to 6, and I think when he asked our group, Christy Mock is one about
Okay.
negotiations as well, so
I
I keep
just-
looking at her, but
I just
think of-
wondered if it needed to still be in there.
Mr. Notabu maybe, and Dr. Touchstone maybe the last 2 in our district.
That even have it, so I wasn't sure.
Right, so, I mean, it would be fine to get rid of it, but it's so far down on the bottom.
Okay,
We'll never
and then
get
I'm
that
fine, those
point.
are just the 2 questions I have.
You bet. Yeah, when we've done a lot of these corrections with policies, you find that it's either option A or B or C, and that's not how the policy is actually, you're supposed to actually choose one of the 3 options.
And like I said, I
So
just
we
wanted to
cleaned
bring
this one
out
up.
that this doesn't mean we're reducing our
No.
workforce. So that people.
If we didn't pass 11, we would definitely have to use this policy, and now, it's just updated.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right, do I have a motion that we adopt the first reading of policy 448, 564, 639, 809, and 830?
I so move.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion or questions? All right, JD,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Kirsty,
Aye.
and I'm an aye.
As long as I can still drive a district vehicle if I need to.
Only if you have $300,000 in insurance on your.
As a volunteer coach, you are still able to, just not as a student. And a lawnmower
That's a
is a
compliment,
district
a
vehicle.
student.
We did split the adopt, so B alone is to adopt a new policy, 990 bloodborne pathogens.
Yeah.
I just want to understand, why are we adopting this as a policy?
This one is very well received and actually pushed by our nurses
Okay.
and our preschool teachers. When you think of some of the bodily fluids that they deal with, and just having a proper way to dispose, a
Okay.
proper way to clean.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Did we ever have a policy?
We
under that?
don't.
I didn't think we did, so it's kind of a new thing with everything
From what
that's
our
been going on.
nurses said, Mr. Reinhardt, those of you that be fired prior to me, they were working on it and it kind of got lost, maybe in the COVID shuffle, but this one was one the nurses really wanted, so they're
Yeah.
very excited.
Yeah, the way things have changed.
Not for bloodborne pathogens, but for a policy to deal with.
Right, how to take care of them.
Absolutely.
And to deal with students.
I move to adopt the first reading of policy 990, bloodborne pathogens.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, any other discussion?
Is it just, are we doing a first read or?
It's a first read,
Okay.
yes. First read. All right. Kirsty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
JD?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
The last one, I'm gonna go ahead and take a seat. There's gonna be a little bit of a discussion, and we may not choose to adopt first read as written.
Oh, really?
Assuming,
We may not.
for cell phone policy.
Well, no.
I imagine you guys are gonna want us to do some changes to this.
Yes, this, I was explaining to people, this is a starting point. Is
Very
the way I explained it to people. But we are adopting it so we can get the $5,000, so
And
I
the
just wanna
deadline's
make sure,
tomorrow.
yeah, the deadline's tomorrow.
Yeah, the
so-
first read part's over. We-
So it's important we do that. All right. So do you wanna, how do we wanna approach this, I guess? Let's take a look. Can you bring it up so we can see it up there? There we go. Yeah, you got it, girl. Okay. So,
I was actually surprised. I got a couple emails with people that were not happy about this. I was kind of surprised.
and what were their concerns, JD?
Probably the loss of autonomy to the teachers to be able to, for their kids to use cell phones, but I'm not saying I agree with it. I can see both sides of it. We have a lot of principals here today, so it'd be interesting to
Yeah.
just get I mean, I guess you guys probably have a pretty good feeling of the overall concern or position of our teachers and our staff with this policy.
Yeah, and trustees, any feedback that I receive, for this specific policy, I shared directly with, trustee Lowe and Chairman Nixon, because they kind of taken the lead on this, just so, every one I got, I shared.
Yeah.
And then just explain to them the process of how a policy, kind of that, how a bill becomes a law, the old song that on Saturday mornings. How does a policy become policy? I mean, there's 3 reads, we've got time, we've got.
Yeah. And like I told people, this is a starting point. I think one of the things I heard the most from is consistency. And that we don't have that at the high school, and that it should be consistent throughout the classrooms, throughout what we're doing. That was probably the number one thing that I heard from people, is that we need to be consistent. I also talked with some elementary parents, and I know that our middle school has a different cell phone policy than what the high school is going to be, because they are from bell to bell, I believe.
The middle
And-
school already has,
Right.
they're already doing it,
Right,
right?
right.
Yes.
Bell to bell, and
Procedures,
no,
not
not even
policy.
during lunch. Not even during lunch. So I was talking to the elementary parents, they would like to see maybe a cell phone policy that would be applicable to them also. For example, most of those kids do not have cell phones, but they have the watches. And there are some things that, I guess we have our elementary principals here, there are things that pertain to the elementary that do not pertain to the high school. One of the things some of the parents said to me were that they really like seeing pictures of their kindergartners on the newsletters. And they like the teachers being able to take those pictures, which that means a teacher would have a cell phone type thing, am I correct? I'm just throwing that out as some of the things I've heard. You guys are gonna be writing the policy, but I've heard that it would be good to have maybe 3 separate policies, but it's good to have a K-12 all the way through policy. So I'm throwing that out.
Well, in the leadership meeting today, they were talking about watches and cell phones, and one of the things is if kids can't have watches, teachers can't have watches. So the consensus is watches would just be allowed.
Yeah,
And if you see I don't think an elementary school student, I don't know, but if you see someone on their phone texting, I mean their watch,
right.
clearly you take the watch away, but that would be district-wide.
That, well, either that or just in the elementary, the watches would not be, but not in the secondary. And the reason I say that is just being an elementary teacher, there was a time when the child contacted the parent to let them know they were sick, but did not tell the teacher. That would be me. And the parent shows up. And, I wasn't sure what was going on. So there's things that do occur with those watches at the elementary level. I think it's great that the parents have them to see where their kids are. But when the kid starts using it or taking pictures with their phone or their watch, then I think it adds to some issues. I don't know, I'm just throwing this out.
Well, and that's what they discussed too, is the teachers' overall discussion is they want the policy to be consistent with everything, not certain policies for certain schools, so it would have to be consistent district-wide.
Yeah.
And then also within the policy, at the teacher's discretion, if they want to take photos, they are allowed during instruction time to use their phone to take photos. So it's not banning that, it's just allowing the teachers to have the opportunity to use their phone as needed during instruction. And that gives them the opportunity to take photos and do what they need to during instruction time.
Right, I think the thing I'm throwing out here is that you have elementary, which has a different set of issues than secondary or ninth
No, I
grade.
understand what you're saying, but teachers want it to be consistent. Okay.
I think consistent, well, but it won't be, because the middle school doesn't have cell phones during lunch. We're gonna have to allow cell phones during our lunch, because it's an open lunch time.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna be completely the same.
Well,
I think the
it
important,
just changes and it becomes consistent throughout the whole district.
yeah, well, and those are things that the policy committee can sure look
I
at.
mean,
Let's see here, I put some things down. The other thing is, I think a lot of the parents still wanna weigh in on what the cell phone policy is going to look like. So I think it's important that we give them as many modes of doing that we can. The other thing was, that came out when I was talking to the teachers at the high school is, do we just have cell phones from bell to bell? Or don't have cell phones bell to bell, or do we allow them to have them during hall passing? Those are some things I think we need to take a look at. Some teachers felt that it'd be hard to watch over that they don't have during hall passing. Some students felt that they'd like to have their phones during hall passing if they needed to contact someone. So that's another question that came out.
well, maybe we should look at the teachers created a little policy type thing with Reno, and that would be a good starting point also.
Yeah,
Because it handles those questions.
right. But that would go with the consistency, I think, overall. And then the other thing is a timeline that I hear. When will this be implemented? I keep hearing that.
I would say the start of next school
Okay.
year. I think there's a lot of work to be done on it.
Right,
But
right.
I, in my mind, I wasn't thinking we could do it this year. I think we gotta hammer out all of this stuff before we can say we've got the final policy and get everybody in place. But in my mind, it was the start of the school year.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to be anxious about, well, we're gonna start this in March and.
No, I don't
or,
either.
it's just, there's too much work to be done, and make sure we
answering questions and.
And I know Robbie's teachers have been working on that, and they're ready to go, am I correct, Mr. Reno? They're ready to go anytime, but I think we need to take a look at.
For you guys to
Yeah.
set the policy.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, as I was reading over this policy, I did have some questions, I don't know if anybody else does. But in the definitions, I didn't know if earbuds needed to be put in that, I didn't see that, but maybe it's in there.
Ear.
Headphones, earbuds.
Yeah, I did, does it say, does that count, headphones? Earbuds?
In the PCB.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing I didn't see, and I know Hillary brought this to my attention too, and after talking with the teachers at the high school, they were all for, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us type attitude. So whatever is adopted, we can live within that cell phone, so that not only is it for students, but we would use it also.
So, the earbud thing, because we did have a teacher that brought up to me that they can listen to music with their Chromebooks, with their earbuds, if, like if they got all their work done or had some time, or use the earbuds to listen to some informational whatever. So, and on their Chromebooks, like they can still listen to Pandora, I think, on there or something. She was, is that?
I don't think Pandora, no.
There's.
One of the high school teachers did say if they plug in headphones, they could still listen to music, they have access to music.
Sure.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know
There's-
that
There's different ways they can get to it, yeah.
Okay.
there are some students who will be on IEPs and 504s that will have to be.
So I don't know, I mean, I don't know if we put the earbuds on the policy or not, because if they can use it with their Chromebooks, they might need the earbuds.
Well, we have them for testing, right, we use them for testing every spring, so, it's a good point. I think that's a good
Yeah,
question.
So we'll come back with a recommendation on.
Yeah, those are just some
headphones,
things.
earbuds from our.
The other
administrators.
thing that I heard from a couple of parents is that there isn't the consistency at the high school, but when students are done, then they reward them with letting them take their phones out. And they felt that that needed to make sure that does not take place.
That's noted.
That that's noted, that it's not a reward type thing.
Rewards, free time.
And then I guess in the general provisions and prohibitions,
I would.
go ahead.
You know how we've been really trying to encourage the students to try harder on the standardized testing? I don't know how that would look in this, but, I mean, if we're rewarding kids for doing better on those standardized testing, I don't know if maybe that could be an exception to this.
Could be. It would be up to, I would put it up to the staff and then teachers
Yeah.
and administrators at that building.
I feel like anything we can do to get kids more focused with the standardized testing, we should do.
And then,
Like the old Gene coupon, it could be a cell phone coupon.
Jeans Friday.
I was gonna say, I remember pajama day was just a big day at the elementary schools.
Hat day.
Yeah, pajama day, hat day, we all loved those days. Then as you move down, it mentions bell to bell. Or should it be only bell to bell? Or should it not be, is one of the questions. And also field trips. What would that look like? Would they be allowed to take things on field trips? I guess it's just another question. Then and I'm not sure if I'm reading this correctly, but does this also go into, like, let's say, if there's a basketball game, they're not allowed their cell phones at that?
Extracurricular?
Yeah.
I don't think you
No,
can
I
do
don't
that.
think so.
I didn't know how that read. I was trying to read this, so I was like, is that what I'm reading?
I thought I read that somewhere.
I mean,
It
it
was
says
just
it right
school.
here, but we don't have to do that.
That's
So
what
you
we're
want-
talking about.
So you want, so I have field trips, bell to bell, and then extracurricular, do you want answers to all of those?
Well,
Or,
I don't think, I don't
No.
think,
like direction on all those?
yeah, I don't think that we can
Any
have
after
it.
school activity, we
Yeah.
can have it.
I read it go bell to bell with the
I agree with Bell today.
Exceptions.
Have their phone out.
But-
Because like we were talking about today, the kids are so used to being on their devices, if you take it away the whole day, they're just gonna be thinking about it and finding ways to get on them. And the goal is to keep them off, so you gotta give them that time to 2 minutes in between classes or whatever, so.
It is, you know, it's interesting, because some of the research I've done, kids are addicted to their cell phones. It's an addiction.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna be tough on some of those kids to put it down. It's not gonna be an easy thing, and I feel for them for that. I have other addictions, but my cell phone's not one of them. So that was my questions. And then I had another question. Why are the students bringing their own devices to school, their personal PCD? Why would they need to do that?
They're not bringing their own personal computers.
Well,
But
it's,
they might be bringing,
Down-
they're obviously bringing their cell phones.
yeah, but I was wondering,
I think there was some discussion that some
Just
don't,
connect to the
they
guest
opt out
hall.
of checking
Yeah, they
out a
could-
Chromebook, so they bring their own iPad or their own Chromebook, but they can't do that because it's not secure.
some of this in the general provisions and that, it talks about if you bring your own, this is what you need to put them here and there and whatever, and I get that. But I'm thinking, why?
And remember, this is just
I know.
the generic policy
Right.
that was given to us
Right.
and all the people that
Right.
use this.
So my question is, why do we need to, I mean, I see, if they're not bringing their cell phones, then why do they need to bring any other PCD thing?
We provide them with a Chromebook. I don't know how many students bring their own. They used to, I remember, they bring their own personal Chromebook or a laptop and then
But if we're doing
they
this-
use the guest wireless.
Yeah, it's, to me, it would seem that that would be harder to police than just saying no. But I don't know.
Well, some of the concerns were safety issues because it doesn't have the firewalls, and so some kids will watch Netflix during class
Yeah.
because they have their own
Right.
computer, so
And that's, I'm just saying, why do we
we
even?
don't need it.
Yeah.
We just say no.
So some of this policy talks about if you bring it, da-da-da, but I'm thinking, why bring it?
Yeah.
So you want feedback from administrators if they
I would
like?
love that. Yeah, all of this I want
Yeah,
feedback.
yeah.
These are just things I've heard and things as I've been reading through and
Personal
doing some research. Uh,
I think that probably not has the high school check.
Which brought me to page 2 out of the 4 pages. And it talks about the use of PCDs again with all the built-in cameras. I guess one of the things I'm looking for, and what my understanding is, when it comes to doing policy, we wanna make it not so long, but a shorter condensed version, so that we can make it easier for everybody. So I guess my question is, if we're not gonna have PCDs, do we need all of this? And that would be a lawyer question, I guess. Can we shorten it? I mean, there's some things I get, like, not using their phones to, I think, use it for disruptive or sexually explicit or harassment or disparagement or whatever. Those are things that maybe we wanna keep in there, because some kids may have their phones there because they're gonna be using them, if they're using them in between hall passes or at lunch. Maybe some of those things we need to keep in there. But I just wasn't sure if we needed all that wording. But that's a lawyer question?
Sure, and so Chairman Nixon, once we get it back to you with the admin draft,
Mm-hmm.
and then we kind of like it, then definitely get one more look by our lawyer to say, okay, you took out pieces that, none of this is law, so that's an easy piece. You
Yeah.
know, we're not,
Yeah.
but make sure whatever we've eliminated, we,
And I agree with Kirsty, after talking with the teachers at the high school, I really, they really spent some time on this. And I really was supportive of what they had. So that would be a good thing to also look at, to see where we can join the two.
Because I want it to be easy on them.
I don't want to add anything to their plate, and I think I've said that several times. I don't know how I feel, to be honest with you, about the phone banks. I'd like to leave it up to the kids. It's their decision, and the only reason I say that is, as a teacher, you have to put it in the phone bank, and then you have to check to see which phone isn't there, and then, not only that, but I had a parent say to me, I don't want it in the phone bank because that kid may have a cold and then they take their phone out, my kid puts their phone in and blah, blah, blah. Only parents think of this, can I just say that? And so that was some of the things that were shared with me as we've gone through this process. So I just want it to be really easy on teachers, and that, you know, if the kid is making it ring, ding, bing, whatever, then then it's taken away, you know, type of thing.
The conversation today was they don't want the banks, they just want it in their book bag away during class.
That's what I'd
And
like.
they'll decide if the book bag's in the back of the room or what have you, but that,
Yeah.
and the middle school already does that, so it's in their book bag
Yeah.
right away, so.
Yeah, as long as it
That's
doesn't
probably
beep.
No, it has
Yeah.
to be on silent or
Yeah,
something.
it has to be off.
Yeah,
So that's the one
so
thing.
that would be in the policy.
Yeah, that's one thing that,
So parents also understand too, like it's in the policy, it's not just a practice, it's a policy.
Yep.
I did like these, the last two things. Students are also prohibited from using PCD to capture and transmit test information or any other information. I think it's really important that we have something to that about you cannot use your phones to let your friend know in period 5 the test that you took in period 3. You know, I think that is a definite issue. So, and then the other thing that came up with the parents that I talked with is, how do I get a hold of my student if there's an emergency? I know, but it's one that they keep saying, and it's one that we need to take a look at. And some of the ones that I've looked at, if there's an emergency, I know I'm a dinosaur.
You call the district office,
That's
or you call the
called this office, yeah. The way it used to be during my dinosaur years. You call the office gets a hold of that student. But I think that they need to also realize that if there is something that is catastrophic at our school, that the kid would have permission to quickly take that out of their backpack and turn it on. So something to that effect. But the other thing that I found out as I've done some research is some of the school offices aren't used to answering that phone right away or getting messages to kids, and that will have to probably change, type of thing. So, and then down where it says exceptions, good, that right there. I think we need to take 2 out, because I don't think there should be any exceptions for approved classroom. If the building principal approves it, I'm okay with that, but I guess I'm looking at, when I look at that, I'm looking at, oh, guess what, we finished early today, you can all take your phones out for a little bit, you know, and I want us to be consistent. So, that's one. Okay. Oh, there were 2 places, Brian, in this policy, and again, I'm trying to condense it, where it talks about, and it's number 4, if you go down, but then there's a whole paragraph about the 504s and IEPs. And I think the policy, maybe just to state it once, that, depending on their 504 IEP, to help maybe make it more condensed of a policy.
Okay.
Well,
Can you
and
scroll?
maybe like a clear definition too, like what does that mean for 501 or IEPs? And what does that look like to teachers in the classroom? So that it's clearly defined and there's no exception to the rule.
Yeah, I think most teachers understand 504s and IEPs.
Yeah, they have to be
Well,
in
they talked
accommodation.
about that today, that there's a consistent understanding of what that looks like all around.
Yeah. Would depend what's ever on your plan.
Kirsty and Michael, what's your guys' thoughts about removing number 2 on that last slide?
During approved classroom instruction.
Yeah.
PCDs is not just cell phones, it's all those other things too, so I don't know. I'd have to think about that one some more. I think kind of we talked about as like a reward for getting the test done or whatever. I would kind of leave that up to the teacher when it comes to that, but then also I understand the consistency thing.
A lot of the teachers today, when they were talking, said they didn't want that. They just want it not in the
Nothing
classroom
in the
at all.
classroom at all.
And then, you know, if it's 5 minutes you're packing up, then obviously you're grabbing your backpack and you're probably gonna go on your phone, but that's like 5 minutes end of class. They don't want an exception to the rule, because then it will be used in other ways.
I had a parent who said, why are they taking out their phones when they cannot take out their book and read? That was just from a parent again. And the other thing on this one too, JD, when it says the PCDs, one of the classes I took, a representative from one school district said, if your school doesn't have whatever approved, like let's say the teacher wanted to use an app, they're teaching science, and they want all the kids to get on an app. Well, you may not all have that app, but if that teacher wants to teach that lesson, then find out what they need curriculum-wise to give it to them to teach it. If it would be on a Chromebook, or if it would be some other way, so that you're not using your cell phone necessarily, because you can't trust what one kid would do versus what app they have.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing. Do you have an issue about that?
No, I just wanted to talk about it.
Well, the middle school's already doing it and it's effective, so I don't see why we can't just make it consistent across the board.
I kind of just want to know what the committee's talking about, what the teachers want, that. I want to do what the teachers want to do in that situation.
So you definitely want feedback on number 2 from our
Yeah,
admin, from
I think that's good.
teachers? Okay.
And then Hillary sent me something, and she had taken out consequences for violation, where it says, I think it's the 4th line down, where it says another person may have their device confiscated. And I agree with her. Why do we have the word may? It should just, it will be confiscated.
You shall.
Does that make sense?
Where's that?
It's, on mine, it's that I ran off 1, 2, 3. It says another person may have their device confiscated. It should stay another person.
Students
That-
who violate it should
Yeah.
will have their device.
Not a may about it.
But also when we talk about confiscation, it's not done by the teacher, it's done by appointed administration, and they will intercede with the student, go to the office, take the phone away, and then that's how the consequences will endure further as you go to 2 and 3 and 4 and so on. Because the teachers don't want anything to do with confiscation, as they should not.
So, and I was fine with the 1st and 2nd violation. I don't know how these guys feel with that, like what Kirsty's saying. But then if you go down, I had a question about this, and I didn't understand why this was there. It says, if a student, parent, guardian, that one, and then it says decisions of the superintendent are final. And I just wanted to know the reasoning of that.
I don't think we need that, there's no appeal. We can just take it out. The consequence is the consequence.
Some policies allow an appeal past the superintendent to you guys. So I think that's when they write the decision of the superintendents are final, that means you can't then appeal to the school board.
You can't appeal to, is that what I mean?
Not when it says decisions of the superintendent are final, because then your policy says there's no appeal beyond the superintendent.
Beyond this, okay. And I kind of wonder, like Kirsty, what would the appeal be? Is there
In her version,
legally?
it's squiggly, so we would get the total option to change that.
Okay.
If we want that instead to be the principal's, the decision is final at the principal.
I think it
I'm
should
fine
be
with
the
that.
principal. They shouldn't start asking you to appeal their,
Yeah.
you'll probably get 20 or
Yeah.
30 appeals.
I don't know if our principals would like that.
It's
I'm fine
their-
with leaving it up to the
It's their
principals.
decision.
They're the ones that will live with it.
I'll definitely get feedback, but no, they definitely would like that.
You're smiling.
They're texting below there. They're probably making fun of.
They're on their phones?
Yeah, they're
What?
making fun
They're
of
on
me.
their phones?
Yeah.
Is there a day? It's like, they give the example of 5 school days. Is there any reason to go beyond 5?
You know, I'd leave that up to,
Feedback?
yeah.
I was gonna say, I have Robbie's thing on my phone, but I won't pull up my phone. If you go to Robbie's thing that day, no phones during the meeting. If you look at that, there are consequences and they're pretty straightforward. So I think that's a good starting point too, of the teachers, and they all collaborated to do that. Counselors attached that, so.
Sorry, I'm kind of reading my notes here.
Yeah, you're totally fine. I just have one question, but I'll ask it at the very end.
Go ahead, you can ask it.
Well, so typically, we have a drafted one that everyone can see, give feedback to, but because we're drafting this as we go, do you wanna see this on the February agenda as part 2 of first read, so then people can have feedback, or do you want it as a second read in February? There's not a huge rush.
We can still change it.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I'm not sure I'm ready for a second read without more input from our.
And we haven't done that, we haven't gone to our administrators yet, got their feedback.
Yeah, and also patrons in our school district, students. I'd like to hear their concerns, I'd like to hear their suggestions, and I'm sure I will hear their opinions.
But we can still change, we can
Yeah.
still change it,
After
even
the
if
first
we
read, you can
approve
change
the
it.
first read.
Because you guys may say.
You could
this
make
is-
it as a discussion, no, an
And we
action,
can
so I
change
we
it
discussed
again
it, not a
after
second.
the third read.
And I know we can change it, I'm just not sure the community realizes we can change it. And I'd like to have more feedback from them, but I'm fine, I mean.
You can make it an action item, but without, it's not a second read, it's just a discussion. And then we
I'm
can
fine.
make changes.
I think
to
I
it.
would like to see
Yeah.
that and then have more.
Yeah, it'll just be another first, yeah, this is a first read 100%, and we've done that multiple times where we said, we're not ready to move that to second read, it's gotta go through another first read.
Yeah, and I know Hillary has texted you some information.
Yeah,
And
yeah, she shared
I
with us.
agree with a lot of that.
So
And then,
we'll be able to compile all this. One thing that, like, so by Thursday, we will be able to post all of our policies for first read for February. But this one, we may not have ready by Thursday, but I can have it ready by Monday.
Okay.
I just need time to sit with people to draft up a first.
one of the other things as I was talking to teachers, and maybe Robbie and Mr. Reno, is professional things being allowed of teachers, like they have to use their phone to sign on sometimes to things, so to have that out,
Verification.
that professional
Yes.
thing that they have, yeah. So, I mean, I think that would be nice somehow to put that in, that teachers, you know, are expected to have the same policy, but with some professional courtesy for that.
There are moments in our safety procedures where you'll come across the line, there's a microphone, well, it's a microphone at the high school, but the intercom and say, one of the principals may say, teachers, I need you to check your cell phone. Because we had to get something out really fast to people, but that would.
Right, and that, I guess I like that word professional courtesy somehow in there, that, for the teachers to have that in there, but.
And it could fall under instructional time, I don't know.
I make a motion that we keep policy 518 on the first reading after we can collaborate with the information provided tonight, and then move on to hopefully second reading in February.
Is that all you had?
No, there's one more thing. I just want to make sure that people who are listening and people that are here understand this is a living document. It is not the Ten Commandments, it's not set in stone, and it is something we are working through. And I really do want to hear what our community has to say about this and open up that transparency.
For this year.
Yes, and it's not for this year,
Yeah,
that's.
lots of work to do.
Yeah, oh, yeah, and I wanna be transparent with them, so that's what I have, so that's the only thing extra, so. All right, JD has a motion out, that's all I have unless you guys have anything else.
No, that's well said.
So JD has a motion out, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion?
No?
All right, let's start with you, JD.
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Kirsty?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. All right, did we give you enough to do, Mr. Graves?
Yeah.
He's excited.
I knew
I
you
know,
would be.
he is.
Thinks about it day and night.
Maintenance.
Well, and I just want to thank the people who've reached out to us
Yeah.
and have let us know some of their suggestions and concerns, so thank you. All right, that being said, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion, anything? All right, let's just go for it here. Are you ready, JD?
Yeah, I'm gonna read this off.
Okay.
No.
Do we have, I don't think you have to read it off.
No.
No, it's just all on consent agenda.
Just the consent agenda.
Say that you approve consent.
Do we have a second?
Second?
I
Okay.
second it.
All right,
I
we
did
got a
second.
first, we got a second, any other discussion,
No.
and anything pulled out, then, we'll start with you, Kirsty.
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
JD? And I'm an aye. Moving right along to the good of the order. Seventh Annual Matthews Scanlon Alumni Night, January 16, 2025. Want to make sure you guys are aware of that, it's a big scholarship and a big game night. And then Day on the Hill.
Where's that at?
Is that,
At the high school, I think.
At the high school.
Yeah, Friday. Thursday.
Friday, Thursday.
Thursday.
And then Day on the Hill is February 17th and 18th, and I know I plan on attending. I don't know if anybody else plans on attending, but,
How late?
oh, that's right, you're going to be in Hawaii. Aloha. I know, he's with you, you're on
Oh,
the
yeah,
cruise.
that's right.
Yeah. Don't,
Yeah,
just a
excuse me,
second. What'd you say?
What's the latest we can?
Deanne, do you know the latest to register?
I wanna say it's the end of this week, but if there isn't any, if you figure it out later, let me know, and then I can get you registered. There isn't a deadline.
On this
per se.
one?
It's like the prices change or something like that.
I don't think they do for this one, if I remember right.
So, Kirsty, are you planning on going?
I don't know, I have to look at my calendar.
Okay.
It's
Just let me know as soon as you can.
I
and
went
I'll
last
get you
year.
guys
Yeah, I
registered.
think it's good, and not only that, but your husband's there too. You can have lunch with him. All right, so that's the good of the order. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second, way to go. And any discussion about that?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Away we go.